Okay, so it's 2:04, so we'll go ahead and get started. Some people might still be coming in, and that's fine. I appreciate you guys coming to join me again. A lot of you were with me yesterday. If not, if this is your first time with us, don't worry. This slide deck, we just continued on from what we started yesterday, and I'm going to briefly review some of the things that I think are important just to talk about. But as always, like if you have any specific questions, if you can put them in the group chat, or you can stop me and ask a question. Either one is fine. Just whatever you guys need, I'm here to help you, since, yesterday you guys seemed like this would be a good idea to continue this. So I'll go ahead and get started. One thing that I wanted to make sure that I talked about with you guys was we do have our e-learning website. And that's something that we are constantly adding resources to, not just for families, but also for teachers. And as we see some different things, we're adding to it just to, there's lots of stuff going on right now. We do have it protected, so like families can't go into the teacher resources. So you have to put a form to get a link to access the next part. And the password is that hashtag DCSD transforms, and then you can get into those resources. That's also something that you can share with parents, because we're also putting like the different free resources for parents in there as well, like the district code for them to get ABC Mouse at Home right now is in there. So if any of those things, we kind of just add to it. So I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware about that. Also, if you were here to talk to hear Brenda and I talking, we were talking a little bit about Zoom, and that's what we're all on right now. But if you're using this with your students, then you can use it as a whiteboard. But if you're on your MacBook, it's kind of hard to write like you would like to. But getting it to play with AirPlay is what I would suggest. Also, I won't go too much into detail right now, but we're hopefully gonna give some opportunities for people to have access to some Apple Pencils, the teachers, to help go through this part. So just be a lookout on some more information about that from your principals. I also just wanted to say that all of your principals should have gotten the home learning codes. This is great for if they didn't necessarily take their district device home, they could still access Seesaw at their home with this home learning code. It also makes it so they can't see each other's work. So you don't have to worry about putting work, because if they're in the home learning code way they access things, then they can't see each other's work. But you can also print those out if you need to. I just wanted to make sure that you all knew about that. Now, some of the things we talked about yesterday, I just wanted to review some of the ideas that we discussed, because you can do a variety of things on Seesaw. So you can kind of be creative with how you share things or how students share things with you. So some possibilities are students can post pictures of the packet pages. So even if they just take a picture of it, you might have to talk to give them good directions about them actually seeing, like you being able to see it, so you can give feedback. Sometimes if they like hold it up and their parent takes the picture, you can't really see what's on the page. But that way you won't have to worry about the coronavirus germs on the packets. You can just take a picture and put them on there. Also, students could post pictures and videos of activities. And I put some screenshots beside this to show you some of the things that our students are doing. Also, students can post from different creation apps that they have. Teachers can post read alouds, they can post mini lessons. and with iPad screen recording, you could, you know, pull up a whiteboard app or you could record yourself reading a digital text, any types of things that you can post those videos on there for students. Now, to go along with all of that, you can also differentiate because you are in control of what you share and who you share it with. So you can share specific items with the whole class, or you can share it with groups or individuals, depending on what they need. K2 is definitely the, you know, we're strong at, you know, differentiating and small groups and really that individual instruction. And right now it's a little bit different because we're giving, you know, packets with all of the same things for our kids. So some of these things might give us some good ideas of ways going forward that we can meet their individual needs, especially our lower level students, because like if they're on a level A or a level B or even a level C, a lot of times it's hard to find those leveled texts at their house, and they need to read more on their level to become better readers. So this is a way you can even share some different texts with them. So I just wanted to review that. Those were some of the things we talked about. Now, we also talked a little bit about, like I was saying, about posting to the journals. So I went ahead and put how teachers can post student work. They can also assign activities or send announcements. And I'm going to go into my Seesaw account in just a minute to show you a couple of things once I kind of go through this. So these learning tools are very important because they help you to see some different things. So I will go in right now to, this is just my fake Seesaw class. And as a teacher, if I just wanted to share different resources with them, I would press this green plus, and that's what students press to add things to, is the green plus. And I'm going to post student work. So whatever I post is going to go into the journals, even though I'm the one putting it in for them. And the purpose that I would do, or what I would do, is to get the leveled text. And I see there's a comment there. In one of the slides, I'll talk about it too. I want to say it's on this one. Let me go back. So here I have this. There is a folder that like I'm downloading some different leveled texts. And what right now they have a free learning A to Z trial where you can download those like Raz Kids texts in their PDFs. That's what this is. So I'm going to put them in there, but if you don't have a Reading A to Z subscription, you can get one until the end of the year, and you can get those texts that they can also download. I just figured I'd share that folder. There's only like 2 or 3 books in there right now, but if you guys have any other ones, I figured it'd be a good place for us to add some leveled text for students. But if I wanted to do that, I already went and downloaded the PDF of the text. So I would go to upload. I'm going to go to Google Drive. And this is the one that I'm going to click on. Okay, so the cool thing about anything, oh, can you guys hear me okay now? I'm even at the district office. You would think my internet would be really good. My internet at house is not good, and it worked well yesterday. It's funny. If you can't hear me again, let me know. So the good thing about anything that you post in Seesaw, so this was a PDF that I got from Reading A to Z. I can, if I wanted to share it with students, I could record myself reading it to them. So you only have a 5-minute recording that you can do. So I'm going to record it so you can see it. All kinds of buttons. Now I can even, while I'm going, if I wanted to draw, I could draw it here. and then all kinds of buttons. I'm going to press because it does the recording per slide. So I can go to the next slide, record again. This button is round. This button is square. Okay, I'm not going to read the whole thing because you can kind of get the concept of what I'm doing. But whenever I'm done, I press this green check in the corner. Now, this is where, if it was a level A text, like this one is right now, then I would want to share it with all of my students because all of my students would not need a level A. So say student 1 is the one that I would like to have that. Then I press check. And then whenever the student goes in, then they are able to see that, and it actually turns it into all kinds of buttons. And I can go to the next pages. And if I recorded myself, then just those pages have it being read. This button is round. This button. Okay, so you can kind of get the idea behind that. So that's one of the things that you can add is those different level texts for students. You can read it or you cannot. If you wanted to, you could share it as an activity, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then the students can actually record themselves trying to read the pages too. So that's a way I can share it with them, just to have it so they can read or listen to me read it to them. If I wanted to, I could even use that to go along with a mini lesson. So say that was what I would do for guided reading for a skill or for different things talking about what good readers do. Then I could go through and I could annotate and point out different things while I was reading. So then that's something they could go back and practice with another text. Just trying to think about ways that you can emulate what you would normally do in small groups with your students, how you could try to do some of these experiences on here. Okay. Any questions about so far?
No.
You good? Okay.
Yes.
All right. No, you do?
Yeah.
Everybody's
No,
good?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to talk a little bit more about Seesaw activities because we just briefly talked about them yesterday. So whenever you're in as a teacher, you have this journal tab right here, and the journal items show up on this left-hand side, and you can see all of the things that are posted. You can even click on it.
Hear me.
What did somebody say?
This is Joyce. I want to know if you could hear me.
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, great.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I had a question about recording a story.
Recording a what?
Story, like I was to read a story to the children.
Uh-huh.
And I wouldn't have to do any uploading, doing it automatically through Zoom, right?
That is, yes, that's possible. If you wanted to, it would depend on the way that you would want to record a story. So if you just wanted to take a video of yourself, then you could post student work, do a video. Or if you wanted to upload the PDF of it, then you could go through it that way, but you don't have to do it separate. If you can, but you don't have to.
Oh, okay.
Okay. That answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that's where the journal is. But then if you want to assign an activity, then you go to this activities tab right here. Now you'll see as the teacher, I have what is assigned to my class already. I have what is scheduled, which I haven't scheduled anything yet, and what's archived. So thinking about that, and I'll go through the directions, and I put some screenshots in the slide deck, but you can assign things to class, but you wanted to schedule things. So like, for example, this one that I have right here, that's technically supposed to be for April 1st, I could schedule it so my students would not have access to it until April 1st. Now, some of you, if you haven't set up activities for students to respond back to with the work they're doing in your packets, you might be a little bit overwhelmed by the concept of like you have to click through all of them to try to see who's turned in what. But activities help you to actually organize it a little bit better, because you can, this one, I don't have anybody that's responded, but if I click on this gray bar right here, then it gives you down at the bottom, once people have started to submit things, you can quickly see who's turned it in and who hasn't. So that's just a good way for you to know who has started working, who has not. So activities are good to easily see who's missing what or who still needs to turn something in. All right. So these are the ones I've assigned to class. But what if, like, I've never made an activity before, or I wanted to see what was already available before I made one from scratch? So if I scroll down to the bottom, it has this browse activity library. And luckily with Seesaw, there are so many different activities that are already made that you can use. But also a lot of teachers within our district have been making activities, and they're adding them to the school and district library for you to be able to use as well. So this is the activity library. You'll see there's the community. So this is all of the Seesaw community, the ones that have been uploaded. Then we have a school and district tab. So all of the ones that either teachers within your school or within the district that have posted and wanted to share some of the things they're doing, then you would post them there. And then the My Library are ones that you've actually like downloaded into your library to share with students. So you'll see that Seesaw has been working hard to talk about this remote learning and different home learning ideas, but you can search by grade, you can also search by subject, or you can just search for different topics. But I'm going to go to the school and district library just to show you some of the things that some of our teachers have been doing. So I'm going to go to kindergarten, and you'll see here that this first one is I uploaded a digital copy of the entire packet that they were given, more just for a reference for each day. It will let them edit the first 20 pages of it, but it won't let them edit more than that. But for that purpose, it's more just for them to have that digital copy of it. But you'll also see here that, hold on, I'm gonna mute some people. So you'll see here that there are different weeks, and these teachers have went ahead and made activities based on this activity that they've done for weeks 3 and 4, and made activities to push out to their students. So for example, I will go to this word work one right here. And you'll see that it has the student directions here. I also included the way you can make it so they can see the different icons for them to click on. But you can also see here that these are the different pictures that go with it. But there's also a template that students will edit. Hold on, it says my internet connection is unstable. If I wanted to assign this to my class, and this is for, they say, week 3, so it's Friday, April 3rd. If I wanted to assign it, I just press assign. Now, I, right now, would just want to add it to my whole class. But if I wanted to select certain students to do that, then I would just press edit students, and then I could select who I wanted to give that activity to. Now this one though is for April 3rd. I wouldn't necessarily want to share that for all of my students right now, because that would probably confuse them whenever they go into their activities and see all of these different dates of things for them to do. So I'm going to press schedule down here. Now, I'm going to assign it for, that one was what, April 3rd, I think. Yes. And then you can set a time. I'll put 7:09 because I don't feel like going through all of 7:09, it's random time. But you can pick whatever time you want for that day for them to be able to have access to the activity. And then whenever I'm done to schedule it, I press the check and I press assign. So now if I go in my library, that also shows there. I'm going to go back to the school library. So I want to show you one other thing. So if I go into first grade, I'll go into this one and say I liked the concept of what this was, but I wanted to edit it. Like there was something I maybe wanted to add to the directions. I can do that. And Seesaw, if you want to know more about something or see the options, these 3 dots in the bottom right-hand corner of a lot of different things are very important. So the 3 dots here, oh, it might not let me do it in this way. This one, so it'll let me share it if I want to, but that's not really the way I wanted to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and press assign first. It could be I was having an issue with this yesterday because of my admin access. It made it so it like doesn't want me to edit things the right way. Let me look in my library to see if it'll let me do it here. There we go. So if I'm in my library, the 3 dots here are saying that I can copy and edit the activity. So I can then add some different things to this if I wanted to, or even if I didn't want to change anything other than maybe I just wanted to add some voice instructions. So like my non-readers wouldn't have to get their parent to reread it to them. They could listen to me read it to them. Also, this add multimedia instructions or example, you could add a link, you could add a video, you can add really any of these things for students to access to supplement what they're doing. So in some of these activities, you'll see like there are some word work ones, and they've attached a YouTube video that talks about some different letters and how they work with different letters, like silent E's and different things like that. So it's just a way for you to get some of those resources to your students. Okay, I'm just going to press save. All right. So now those are the different ways that you can see some different activities that are there. I would suggest for right now, especially if you're new to creating activities, to try to find some that you like and edit them. If you start from scratch, sometimes it's just a little bit harder to kind of get through that way. So if I want to go back to my class, because right now I'm in the activity library, in this upper right-hand corner, I click back to class. So you'll see that now if I go to scheduled, you'll see what is scheduled for my students. All right. Any questions right now? Is my audio any better? Has it been okay? Okay. It's interesting. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my slide deck. And it kind of goes through some of these different things just for your reference for later. This was also one that I'm pretty sure I referenced a little bit yesterday, that talked about this text and the questions that are within there. And these are the different options you have once you have it. This also goes through what I went through too. So also, if you wanted to have, I'm going to say this another time too, just because it's an important concept. If you need some help with adding an activity, please let me know. Please share any activities that you make that you think would be beneficial for other people. Or you can even do a Zoom and you can share your screen with me and I can help walk you through what you're trying to do. But like I said, editing one that's already made is the best place to start because that helps you figure out what you really want to do. I put this video here again if you wanted to look through. I also went ahead and put a screenshot here of the different icons because whenever you're typing up in activity directions, if you include how it's written there, the text shortcut, once you publish it for your students, it'll show up with those little icons. All right. And then just to talk through again. Yes, well, I need to get the video downloaded for later, but if you want to go look at specific parts and you can. That's fine. I just have to wait until it's uploaded from the cloud for me to download. Now, I did want to talk again about if your students don't have internet, some things that you can do for them. I did include a link right here, or not a link, a picture that this is another text. If they click on those 3 dots, they can save it to their camera roll. I did talk to Seesaw today and ask them because they used to have the option to have them save it to like Adobe Acrobat Reader or save it to their files instead of to the camera roll. And that's something that they're working on. So hopefully they'll work on that sooner rather than later. But remember, students, if they get on internet, then they can, so they could ride up to a parking lot. They could take screenshots of different activities that they need to do. Then they could mark it up. And then whenever they get back to internet, they could re-upload it. Students can take pictures and videos. Pictures and videos don't have any internet as long as your students have a device. So a few schools didn't send as many devices home. So it's going to be really important that you figure out who needs access and if there's any way that you could make that happen for them. Just something to think about because if they don't have any device at home, then they can't do a lot of these things. So also all of the different offline creation tools like Chatterpix, and then also they can record their screen. So if they can record as they're going through a whiteboard and doing a problem, they could record their thought process and then re-upload it. And then they can re-upload once the students connect to the internet. Let me, yes, I should be able to put those leveled texts in the folders. I just have to find them again. I'm looking in the chat. A recording of Zoom. You should be, so if you do a Zoom recording, you should be able to let them see it. It's going to depend on how long it was, because I think sometimes when you're adding videos, if it's too big, it gets a little bit funny. You could always put the Google Drive link, but then that might be difficult for the K2 kids that don't know their Google information. Let me, Joni, look into like the maximum for the video and just some ways that you can do that. But yes, you should be able to share that. Even if you put it in a, like in YouTube, but set it to like private with the link, then you could put the link there. That could be a way to do it too. I'll work on trying to think through some different things and I can put it back in this slide. So I'm going to put a poll for you guys about, I've never done this, so we'll see how it goes. Will it let you just type? All right, how about instead of a poll, because that's what you do whenever you do stuff on the fly like this. I was hoping it would just let you type in, but it's not going to let you do that. So in the chat, if there is anything like, I am cool with doing any type of Zoom like this. If you want to still do like whole group ones, if there's specific things that you would want me to talk about more, I mean, or if you want me to talk about more stuff now or later, if you can put kind of your needs or wants in the chat and then work to plan out how I can help you. So I just figured, that this would be good, and I've had more people come to the Zoom meetings than I anticipated. Right, so any ideas? So just put them down in the chat, and then I can plan out some things. Is everything going okay for everyone that you know of? All right, add a page to an activity you've already created. I wonder if you can do that. I can look into that. I don't know if might have to make a new one. Are there any other things that you want me to talk about or do another Zoom session on another day about? Is there something that you want me to focus on? Yes, if you think of something later, you can email me, or I feel like you probably can rearrange activities. I've never tried it. Amy, you're asking good questions. Yeah, sometimes a Zoom, like, it makes it depends on the type of internet you have, how long it's going to take for videos to upload. Like, sometimes videos just take a long time to upload because they're bigger files. Francis, did you want me to review that now, or did you to review that later?
Later.
Later, okay. Anybody else? Anything like I could do to help you, or you said, man, I wish I knew how to do that? So okay, so I'll start with Amy. So when are you talking about your add students QR code right here? Yes, okay. So this will expire. But what I would suggest for at home is to not use that QR code, but get these home learning codes. Okay, I'm just gonna press print codes. And these codes